Gunslinger, Lawman, Legend, The Life of Wild Bill Hickok. Howdy, folks. Grab your 10-gallon hats and your 6-shooters, because today we're galloping into the Wild West to meet one of the most legendary gunslingers of all time, Wild Bill Hickok. Now, don't go thinking this is just another dusty history lesson. We're talking about a man whose life was so packed with adventure, danger, and a touch of flair that Hollywood couldn't make up a better story. So, sit tight as we dive into the epic life of the one and only Wild Bill. Early life and adventures. Our story begins on May 27, 1837, in a little town called Homer, Illinois. Born James Butler Hickok, a name that would later get an upgrade, young James was destined for more than just farming. By the time he was 18, he was itching for adventure like a flea in a dog's ear. So, he packed up, left home, and headed straight into the chaotic frontier of Kansas. The Bleeding Kansas conflict. Kansas in the 1850s wasn't exactly a peaceful place. It was a hotbed of conflict between pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers. Young James, with his fiery spirit and righteous cause, joined the Free State Army, fighting for the abolitionist movement. Here, he got his first taste of real action, and let me tell you, folks, it was spicier than a chili cook-off. Name change. Fast forward to the Civil War. Our hero decided it was time for a rebranding. He grew a mustache that would make any walrus proud and took on the moniker Wild Bill. Why? Because Wild Bill just didn't have the same ring to it. He served as a scout and spy for the Union Army, using his sharpshooting skills to great effect. Picture this, Wild Bill sneaking behind enemy lines, gathering intel, and taking out Confederate soldiers with pinpoint accuracy. Talk about multi-talented. Civil War deeds. Wild Bill Hickok's contributions during the Civil War are the stuff of legend, folks. Imagine being a scout in a war where every bit of information could mean the difference between victory and defeat. That's where Bill shined brighter than a prairie sun at high noon. One of his first notable deeds was during the Battle of Pea Ridge in 1862. As a scout for the Union Army, Hickok provided crucial intelligence that helped the Union forces secure a strategic victory. His keen eye and ability to move undetected made him an invaluable asset. Picture Wild Bill, creeping through the underbrush, dodging Confederate patrols, and delivering vital information to his commanders. It was a role tailor-made for his unique blend of bravery and cunning. But that wasn't all. Hickok's most famous act of valor came during the Battle of Springfield in 1863. Serving under General John B. Sanborn, Hickok undertook a dangerous mission to disrupt Confederate supply lines. He infiltrated enemy territory, sabotaged their supplies, and made it back in one piece. This daring raid not only crippled the Confederate forces, but also boosted the morale of the Union soldiers. It was as if Wild Bill had single-handedly turned the tide of battle with his sheer audacity. The Lawman of the Wild West. After the war, Wild Bill found his true calling, taming wild towns as a lawman. His stints in Hays and Abilene, Kansas, are the stuff of legend. Imagine Hickok strolling down the dusty streets, a Colt Navy revolver in each hand, enforcing the law with a deadly aim and a cool demeanor. If Clint Eastwood had a hero, it would have been Wild Bill. He faced down outlaws, kept the peace, and made sure everyone knew that in his town, justice was swift and uncompromising. The wild days in Hays City. First stop, Hays City, Kansas. In 1869, Wild Bill took the job of sheriff in this rowdy frontier town. Now, Hays City wasn't exactly a beacon of civilization. It was a rough-and-tumble place where outlaws and drifters outnumbered honest folk. But Wild Bill was up to the challenge. In July of that year, Hickok faced down notorious gunman Phil Coe. Coe, a gambler and troublemaker, had a reputation almost as fearsome as Hickok's. The showdown occurred in front of the saloon, as most legendary duels do. Coe fired 2 shots at Hickok, both missing their mark. Wild Bill, with the speed and precision of a rattlesnake strike, returned fire, killing Coe with a single shot. The bullet that missed Coe's head went on to kill his deputy, Mike Williams, marking one of the few times Wild Bill's aim went astray. Even legends have their off days, folks. The legendary Lawman of Abilene. Next up, Abilene, Kansas, in 1871. By this time, Hickok's reputation as a lawman was well established, and the cattle town of Abilene needed someone who could handle its wild ways. Abilene was a major cattle town, and with cowboys came chaos. But when Wild Bill took the reins as marshal, he brought order with a heavy dose of frontier justice. One of the most famous incidents in Abilene was the shootout at the Alamo Saloon. Hickok had been enforcing a strict no-guns policy within the town limits, but trouble was never far away. A group of rowdy cowboys, led by John Wesley Hardin, yes, the infamous outlaw, thought they could challenge Hickok's authority. Big mistake. Hickok walked into the saloon, confronted the cowboys, and with a combination of words and gunfire, convinced them to lay down their arms. It was a testament to Hickok's reputation that he could defuse such a volatile situation with minimal bloodshed. The McKennel's Incident. One of the most famous, or infamous, incidents in Wild Bill's career was the McKennel's Massacre in 1861. David McKennel's and his gang tried to strong-arm the Rock Creek Station in Nebraska, where Bill was working. Well, they picked the wrong station to mess with. A gunfight broke out, and by the end of it, McKennel's and 2 of his men were dead. Wild Bill was accused of murder but was later acquitted. This incident cemented his reputation as a man not to be trifled with. Sharpshooting showman. Wild Bill wasn't just a lawman and a soldier, he was also a bit of a showman. He joined Buffalo Bill Cody's Wild West show, where he showcased his sharpshooting skills to awestruck audiences. Imagine the scene: Wild Bill hitting targets from impossible distances, making trick shots look like a walk in the park, and leaving the crowd cheering for more. He was the original rock star of the Wild West, folks. The legendary duel with Davis Tutt. Let's not forget the legendary duel with Davis Tutt in 1865. Picture a dusty town square in Springfield, Missouri. Wild Bill and Davis Tutt facing off at high noon over a gambling dispute. They paced out, turned, and fired. Tutt missed, but Hickok's shot found its mark, dropping Tutt dead. It was one of the first recorded quick-draw duels in the Old West, and it solidified Hickok's place as a legend. Poker in the dead man's hand. Now, let's talk about Wild Bill's true passion, poker. Hickok was a notorious card shark, and his love for the game would ultimately lead to his untimely demise. On August 2, 1876, in Deadwood, South Dakota, Bill sat down for a game of poker holding a pair of aces and eights, now famously known as the dead man's hand. Suddenly, a sore loser named Jack McCall shot him in the back. Talk about a bad beat. McCall was later tried and hanged, but Hickok's death only added to his mythic status. The legacy of Wild Bill. Wild Bill Hickok was buried with full honors, and his legend only grew from there. Tales of his sharpshooting, law enforcing, and card-playing prowess have kept his name alive in the annals of Wild West history. He's been immortalized in countless books, movies, and TV shows, forever standing tall as the quintessential gunslinger. Conclusion. So there you have it, folks. The life of Wild Bill Hickok, a man whose exploits were so incredible, they blurred the lines between myth and reality. Next time you find yourself at a poker table, remember old Wild Bill and his dead man's hand. And maybe keep an eye on the door. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more legendary tales from the past. Until next time, keep your powder dry and your aim true.